This is Eric, and this is my channel, the Cajun Blade. And today, Sean and a couple other people has requested I do a one stone hone, kind of walk, try to talk through the basics of it for new guys. That's Sean. I never recommend caudicle out the gate. Sean jumped on pretty early in the process, and has mastered them. And we've been talking about something to simplify, because I personally don't think a caudicle is something to be afraid of. I wouldn't be afraid to talk somebody new through the process, as long as they could follow directions. That's for one stone honing. And I think everybody needs a synthetic bevel setter, to be honest. Especially to not overdo on a caudicle to get right at the gate. But you could feasibly get a 1K in a caudicle and basically have everything you need. So we're going to talk about that. And this first video, I'm gonna hone on a caudicle that was loaned to me by Rick, a good friend of mine, and it's no doubt a good caudicle, right? So I'm gonna do one video on a really good caudicle. I'm gonna do one video on just a grab out the box, one of my cauticles that are I may do on a Legris, that's not super difficult to hone on. So excuse me, not super fine, I should say. It's more aggressive on the low end. So this caudicle is Petit Blanc, beautiful caudicle. The Petit Blanc are probably the last of the really fine good cauticles that you can still get periodically through AC. As the less lats are not as fine, but they're a popular caudicle. They're harder to get, if not impossible at times. Dresante, excuse me, is almost impossible to get, other than what he has in stock. You don't really mind anymore. Levianette is some good cauticles, but they're not what they once were. I have one. It's a good caudicle. You can get a vintage. I have one of each. It's good. But I mean, the new ones are good too. I just don't think they're quite what this is, right? So you have, talking about your fine cauticles. Like I said, this is not mine. I'd love to get one, but right now, in this size, they're not available. Just a combo stone, which again, Le Petit Blanc. So another unobtainium is this, which is, you've seen this in a video, which is Le Vert, or the green caudicle. A very fine caudicle, very good caudicle, very like almost impossible to get. I think Darcy, one of the guys who follows the channel, he has one of each, and lucky. I was too slow to jump on them, but in the future, these are two I would like to add to my collection. Maybe not this enormous, but and these are both loaned to me by a good friend of mine, who was a friend of mine way before he was a follower of the channel. But I'm doing some work for him, and he loaned these to me to try while I was doing some work on some razors for him. So, and then you also have another one that's pretty much unattainable now, which is, this is mine, which is Le Blanc. So it's more of a, has that pink or orange color, and it has a, it will yellow with the sun. This is a very thin, ain't got much left of it, but they're hard to find. This will hone everything I need to do for my life. Fun stone to hone on. Can't really find these anymore. And then the Dresante, which is pretty much impossible to find. It's more of a rouge color. I have this one, and I have one that's a boat that you can see they almost identical, on the same, about the same fineness between the two. You can't. These are old. Were in paddles hundreds of years ago. And then, of course, what you can find now. And okay, I got a little less lat, which is a hybrid, right? This side is very popular with some other internet honers. It's not a fine side. You have to use running water to finish on it. It's very aggressive though. It's a bevel setting monkey. Now you can get after a good bevel set with it, easy. But you can finish on this side now without slurry. But this side, the hybrid side, is a very good, very fine finisher. It's not made of garnets. I think I can't remember. I think maybe quartz is the abrasive in this side. I may be wrong, but this is very fast. And then what you can get nowadays, which I think are really good stones, is a La Viennette. This is a glue to a piece of slate. This is what AC can get you, provide you now. This is it get expensive. This is about as big as I go, but I enjoy a 7 by 1.5 or better. That's in my wheelhouse. These are nice. I like to have them, but if I had my choice, something this wide, it would be this short. So today we're gonna hone on. Excuse me. We're gonna hone on the Petit Blanc for a 1 stone hone, and we're gonna use. I don't have a slurry stone, so I'm gonna use the back side of this less lat, which will, I mean, it's hard as woodpecker lips. You're not gonna throw slurry. I want to generate base stone, and I don't really would rather not use a DMT on this. If it don't generate the slurry I would use my La Viennette slurry stone because of the similarity between the two. So I'd like to get as much of this abrasive as I can. So we're doing a 1 stone home. 2 things that you have to do. This isn't a synthetic. You're not going to be able to use the same pressure and slurry or pressure all the way through your home. So to set the bevel, you're going to need more pressure and more slurry, early on. And if you rather not do that, then you're not going to bet a 1 stone home. You need to stick to synthetic bevel setter. With the exception being an extremely fast caudicle, which may be more difficult for you to finish on, like a Lagris or which is medium speed but it's fast enough, or like that less lat that is extremely fast. And I have some vintage that are quick as lightning. That big stone I have, but to finish on my big stone that's so fast, I usually use soap or oil or glycerin to bump it to where I want it. Now we are not looking for misty here. We're looking for milk slurry. All right. Korat, we kill the edge on the blue side, just very gently. Okay. Then, you can use circles. Sometimes with circles, I go back and forth in my preference. On a caudicle, I really like half strokes. I try to stay in my slurry. I'm putting torque, all right? As you can see already, we're building swarth. So swarth equals cutting, okay? So as a new guy, when you hear I would say unhelpful information of, oh, if you see swarth, you need to go back a stone, or if you see slurry, you're setting an edge back. If you have no edge and you need to sharpen a blade, if you don't see swarth, you're not cutting steel. If you don't have slurry, it's going to take you longer to cut. I'm not shaving off of this. This is just the beginning stages, all right? But there's some confusion information out there, and I don't really understand the reasoning behind it other than not understanding the transition between a synthetic and a natural stone. I don't know. Even on synthetics, I got swarth, at least until I get to 5K. And even then, I should be able to see a little bit. If you're not removing steel, what are you doing? I don't know what you're doing if you're not relieving steel. You're just doing a video and making exercise. I don't know. So torque here, I'm not jamming on it. I'm just leaning the weight just like that on the blade, trying to use the same amount of strokes. Here I'm just using 10 each way. Look, I'm not going to do my 20 and regressing stroke. I don't know this stone, right? I'm not going to outsmart the stone and say, okay, you're going to fit into how Eric hones. Not going to do that. I'm going to figure the stone out and hone to the stone wants. And that's why I'm going to go with a measured approach here. So if you buy a stone that you know nothing about, and then the guy you're watching on video doesn't know anything about, but yet you're going to use his method to hone that stone, and then not be able to do it and not make any changes, then that's kind of a honer issue, not a stone issue. When I wanted to get better at honing cauticles, I reached out to people who were good at honing cauticles. Yeah, that's just kind of what, I didn't reach out to J-Nat people. When I wanted to learn how to hone J-Nats, I reached out to J-Nat people. So we generating really good swarf right here. So I'm getting ready to walk you through the next phase of our cauticle conversation. So what am I looking for? It's going to be hard to judge undercut on this much slurry and at this stage of abrasives, but you still need to make sure you're even. And if you see a spot that's lacking, you can address it here, like right there. Not just resting it on there. Okay. So when I do a series of half strokes, I always follow up with X strokes, depending on the razor, if I roll or not, or the size of the stone. I like a smaller razor, so the you can see this core rat is has a slight smile to it, so I'm gonna just keep working with that. I need a little water because my slurry's side of the stone starting to dry. So that's so one thing we need to talk about here is that on a cauticle, the slurry does not break down. You must dilute it to reduce abrasives, to increase your polish and become milder on your blade. So I'm going to start with a new slurry after I get through this bevel setting stage. Okay. It's the way I was taught to be more efficient and what I stick with. Can you ride this slurry out? Absolutely you can. Yes you can. So now we're going to talk about your monitor and checking. Okay, you can use a packing peanut, but I'm not going to go through that right now. You can use a loop. I'll suggest this, right? Not this. So microscopes are a great tool. I use them. I use this. I use my other microscope. But they are also an extreme addiction and one of our worst rabbit holes in this hobby, because you have to understand what you're looking at to judge what you're looking at. So a cauticle edge should never be beautiful like a synthetic or a J-Nat edge. It's going to, if you're shaving just off of your eyes when you first start, then you're going to be chasing your tail. If you're an experienced honer and know what you're looking at, then there's no problem using a microscope every step of the way. But I'm telling you to start with, I discourage this. So this is 30-60, 10 is all you need. Go ahead and wipe it dry. All I'm looking for is no chips on the apex and to make sure my striation looks the same all the way, right? That's not going to tell me if I have a bevel. It's just going to tell me if my bevel's aligned and straight like I want it. All right, it looks good. I will tell you this, where I'm at right now in my home, I will look at the bevel with this, because what I use this for is not necessary to shave off of a scope. Is to make sure I don't have, I don't like having any kind of micro chips that I don't see on my loops. I will use this at times. But like I said, you don't need it, and I discourage you from when you first start. So we're picking up hair all along the way. With that said, I'm not 100% happy. I'm going to do a little more work on this bevel, which is not uncommon for me to do 2 rounds of slurry like I just did. This video may go long, dude, but I think it's worth it. So this here is not a really slow stone. I mean, it is a, if anything, it's medium to good speed. but it is a fine finisher at the same context. So that right there will tell you why they're in demand and why they're preferred stone of cuticle honers. I would say easy to hone stone is a good way to describe it. A little less slurry this time, probably just as dense. It'll just come off that razor. Now, I'm not saying this is the best way to do it. I'm not saying that, well, I'm not, you should watch me enough to know that I'm not that guy. One hone stone is the best. No, I mean, easy, probably go to 8K, but that's not what I was asked to make this video on. And that's also not what I enjoy. Still using pressure. Very little fluid on the stone. You can see how violent. Zoom in a bit. And if you wanted, you could use half strokes the whole way and just do your X's at the end with your water. I mean, I know some really good alcohol owners, that's what they do. You could use circles if you want. Don't be afraid of overhoning it. You're not gonna overhone it at this stage. I mean, other than taking off more steel than you want. I am using 1 layer of Super 88 tape. Alright. So now 17 minutes in, 4 minutes of me bullshitting. And that bevel set took me almost 15 minutes, right? So that's what I would expect. That's normal, in my opinion. Okay. I'm gonna use this La Vignette slurry stone. Just in case that fiber was releasing particles, I'd rather not when I get to my polishing stage. As for stone quality, they match up very close, the Vignette vein and this Blanc. So now we're gonna start our dilution stage. I'm gonna keep clean water here. Change that out periodically. So each stage I'm gonna do 20 half strokes and 15 rolling X strokes. Why? That's just what I'm gonna do and go from there and see what it looks like. Keep my slurry on my stone. I'm gonna dip my razor. Or you could take one finger and drop it. It's basically the same thing. I'll choose to dip. That was 20. I'm gonna dip this time. Dip, drop. Try to stay in your slurry if you can, as much as you can. That was 30, lost count. So what are we doing right here? We're staging away from our heavy slurry and our heavy abrasive towards working our way up, yeah, as it would be a synthetic progression, by diluting our slurry. I'm not using the pressure I used on the bevel set. I'm probably what I would consider medium slurry, which means I'm weighted a blade plus some torque, not weighted a blade plus a good bit of torque. I wish I could tell you how many grams it is, but I've never measured it. It's something you're gonna have to feel. So as you dilute, you're looking to keep undercut, because that's your indication that you're even. And the place where you're going to be most subjected to having some issues falling behind is the heel and the toe. So I do some isolated strokes. Not everybody believes in that. I'm good with that. Don't care. But I do some isolated strokes on that area to make sure I don't leave nothing off. See, I'm trying to keep as much slurry on the stone as I can. Yep. Keeping track of what stage we were. I try to shoot for like 7 stages. Why? Don't know. That's what I was taught. To make yourself not go too fast, I guess. See? Look at the heel. Lacking. Good. So I'm not putting much pressure, just a little, putting my finger on it. At no point when I talk about pressure should be you be leaning into the stone. You know, that's you're gonna do nothing but tear your razor up by doing that. Get an uneven, wavy bevel. Just talking about torque. Here looks better. too much abrasive in my water. I'm getting to a stage right now where I don't want to grease my abrasive at all. I'm almost at water, and undercut is beautiful. That tells me I was successful as I go. What I'm gonna do here, I'm getting off a slurry. Getting off a slurry, and I'm gonna hone just on water. I'm gonna rinse the stone every 10, and we're gonna give us roughly 100 of those. Tell you what, I'm gonna rinse every 20, and then we're gonna check it on packing peanut. So, ain't quite there. Okay, now I got undercut. So see, that's all I did. I didn't increase pressure. I just threw about 15 more half strokes onto this bare stone with just water, and I was able to get undercut with water. I'm gonna count those 20 in my water stage refinement. Pressure is weight of the blade. This is just water. Two things that I see that opportunity for improvement on some conical components is not enough slurry or pressure early on, and not enough water relapse on light pressure at the end. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm just saying that's what I'll do different, and it works out pretty good for me. I didn't come up with it. It's not an invention of mine. It's how I was taught. It was effective, so I stay with it. Why am I flooding the stone? So I could just use running water, but I know, I proved it. Running water causes a premature stick, and your razor may be at 50 to 60% keenness of what it could be under running water. Possibly, maybe not at 4. So I'd rather use the flood method, what I call it, and then I finish up on soap, glycerin, or oil. If I'm gonna hone on my stone, I'm gonna maximize my stone. I'm not here to put a half-assed effort and then complain about the results. But I mean, that's how some people were taught, and they live with that, and they live with the results they don't like. So I mean, I'm not one to judge. I'll clean that stone off. Just grabbing some swarth here. I don't want to put a paper towel on it or nothing like that. Have any risk anything on the surface. All right, if that's not 100, we're gonna call it 100. So paper towel strop is right. Grab me a packing peanut. Still got swart on it. Anything on your edge can affect HHT or your sharpness testing. Oil, water, whatever. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Feels like a lady. Oh, getting too cocky. Oh, all right, the angle I went in. Toes good. All right, are we stopping there? Hell no. Hell no, we're not stopping there. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it with a little soap. We can see if we can bump it up. So, have I looked at the edge? Nope, sure didn't. Don't need to. Just look at the beginning, look at the end. All that scope work is overrated. Aquatic is not gonna look beautiful. It's not gonna look like your J-Nat or your synthetic. I found that was the advice that was given to me. Look at it when you start to make sure you got your bevel doesn't need some extra attention. And look at it at the end, and then take note. The edge shaved good. You know that that's what a good edge off of that stone looked like. And you're not going to be looking for a J-Nat or a synthetic loveliness, because a cottage is just not going to be that lovely. Now, I've seen some guys that got some really good scopes that get down on the apex and not really seeing the bevel. Like JPO got one, and Greg Gallant got one. I don't have that, and man, those are nice, because then that's telling you some accurate information, right? I still don't need it to hone, but it gets through. You're not just seeing the ugliness that's going to appear on a weak power scope. You're seeing right on that apex, and the cottage edge will look good there. So, you know, they got some really good setups. I talked to JPO a couple times on his setup. I got him too much money tied up in stones to tie one up in a mic like that, but I guess one day I will. If I have a home for hire. And that soap, you see how dangerous that is? That razor almost slipped out my hand right there. So when you're honing with soap, oil, or glycerin, you need to be aware of that. So enough scope talk. Let's talk about what I'm doing right here. So I'm using a viscous lubricant, in this case soap and water with glycerin mix, and I am using it as a medium like oil for some lubricity and viscosity to keep particles up and floating and not on the stone. With that said, periodically I go back to flood. No reason to risk honing on garnets where you don't want. 34 minutes in, 30 minutes honing on this cuticle, and I'm done basically. Not bad at all, not bad. If you took your synthetics out and did start to finisher, you'd probably be somewhere in that ballpark, right? So we're not talking about wasting it, not wasting. You're never wasting when you're sharpening, right? So I'm not talking about blowing or using up a whole day doing it. How many I'm gonna do like this? You can do as many as you want, you ain't hurt nothing. I usually make me another 100 like this, but you seen how keen the razor was. Before I upload the video, I want to go in the bathroom, I'll HHT it so you can see my correlation between packing peanut and HHT. I hadn't done that on video yet. But that's all we're doing with the peanut, is substituting it for HHT. And you can't just, you gotta understand how to read it. So me and Bill were talking not long ago, and I told him it took me a while to get my understanding. I think, or maybe me and Greg, I don't know. But of how to read it, but now I feel more comfortable at it. Lovely, lovely. I love this stage. I could do this for a while, just polishing and refining. One stone hone cuticle on a Petit Blanc. One of the finest stones I've ever put my hands on. And I really like this 6 by 2 1/4. It's excellent size. and you do not need this tight or good a cuticle to do this. This method has worked on every cuticle I have, including the dreaded Legris that people say is no good or whatever. I'm telling you, that $150 buy on Amazon for an 8x2 for Legris, you can't hardly beat it. Especially if you're new and you don't want to tie up a shitload of money in cauticles. I don't have one yet, but I bought some of the boos, the smaller ones. I have plenty of big cauticles, but I will get one just to test it on the channel. And maybe sell it or keep it if I really like it. All right, that's it. It's a wrap. No need to peanut that. I'll, at the end of this, right after we segment, which will be later today for me, I'll hit it on the peanut and HHT for you so you can see where I'm at. I can't see the freaking hair. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, so how did that correlate to the fucking peanut? Fucking hair everywhere. Fall in like a cloud. Fall in, fall in, fall in, fall in, fall in. So what you'll see, if you can fall in effortlessly, when you feel no resistance, I'll find that is somewhere at HST 4 or 5, you know, which is what I expect out of a cuticle. And I shave well with it. So that's where we're at. So look, I appreciate you joining me. This is Eric, this is my channel, Cajun Blade. And y'all stay classy, baby.